Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now, if you're in the market for a new budget smartphone, then the two phones I'm looking at today should definitely be on your radar. I've got the Xiaomi Mi 10T Lite and the Poco X3 Pro. Now, both of these phones offer fantastic specs for very little money. They share a lot of similarities, but there are a couple of differences that may sway you towards one over the other. So we're going to have a look at them quickly today. If you're interested, please stick around. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing. So let's get to it. So the first phone I'm going to be looking at is the Poco X3 Pro. Now, as you can see, you've got a very sizable display here. It's a 6.67 inch Full HD IPS display with 120Hz refresh rate. So it's nice and smooth for your everyday tasks. We just jump into the settings quickly. As you can see, the settings menu is typical MIUI with all your different sections there. If we jump into About Phone, you've got the freshest MIUI 12.5.1, which is running on Android 11. I have the 128GB model, and of course this has 6GB of RAM, so everyday running should be absolutely fine. If we just jump onto display, refresh rate, so I've got it set at the high 120Hz refresh rate. That's just something that I do every single time. If you got here, you've also got your light and dark modes, so you can just easily flip between the two. You can also schedule the dark mode, so you can have it on light mode during the day, and then you can have it going on to dark mode if you're lying in bed or whatever. If you go to more dark mode options, you can set the dark mode for each individual app, so you can turn that on or off. Obviously, you've got your brightness level, which is automatically set at auto, and then night mode brightness, so which turns on night mode to minimise the screen brightness in low light conditions. You've also got a reading mode colour scheme, which you can change the individual colour settings, so you can do the auto, saturated, which is what I quite like to have it on, standard, or you can actually adjust all the colour settings yourself. Text size, as it says, you can adjust the size of the text on the actual phone there. And then if we just flip back, you've got various other things: lock screen, sound and notifications, wallpaper, themes, password and security. So if we just jump onto that quickly, you've got face unlock, which is just takes a 2D image of your face. And then you've got the fingerprint unlock, which is the fingerprint sensor there built into the power button, which, as you can see, works flawlessly every single time. So as for performance, the Poco X3 Pro runs the Snapdragon 860 processor. So this is a kind of midway between the Snapdragon 855 Plus from 2019 and the Snapdragon 865 from last year, minus the 5G modem inside. So this is just a 4G phone. And then if you just quickly flip over, you've got the quad camera setup there, which consists of a 48 megapixel main sensor, an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and then two 2 megapixel depth and macro cameras. And in terms of the color, this is the metal bronze color. It is also available in a black and a blue color as well. And it's got this two-tone design with a strip going down the middle with the giant Poco branding there. But it is all made of plastic. And then on the left, you've got your SIM tray, which has your SIM and micro SD support. And then, as I said before, you've got your power button with your inbuilt fingerprint sensor and your volume rocker. If you look onto the bottom, you've got your headphone jack, USB-C charging port and your speaker. And then up the top, you've also got another speaker built into the earpiece. So this has a stereo speaker setup, and then a microphone and an IR blaster as well. Okay, so if we just move on to now the Mi 10T Lite, as you can see, it's another big display. It is a 6.67 inch display, again, also with 120Hz refresh rate, and it's an IPS LCD display. So the displays on both of these phones are exactly the same. This also, like I said, has 120Hz refresh rate, so everything is very, very smooth when you're running through your interface. This one is running a slightly older version of MIUI 12.0.2, but it is still running the new version of Android 11. And this is a 64GB model. It is available in a 128GB model as well. In terms of the processing power, the Mi 10T Lite is using the newer Snapdragon 750G. This is a 5G processor, so this has the benefit of having 5G support, which obviously the X3 Pro doesn't. We also have 6GB of RAM on board as well. But as you can see, the settings menu is identical to the Poco X3 Pro. So you've got display, light and dark mode. So I'm literally going to be repeating myself. So I'll just quickly show a couple of the settings. So there's all your wallpapers there, so you can pick what you want, or you can use the onboard photos that you've taken, etc. Themes, so you can change the theme as well. A lot of these are free, but there's some that you will obviously have to pay for. Battery and performance, you've got your normal battery power saving mode, so battery saver, ultra power saving. So I'm on 100% charge, and it's saying I've got around 41 hours and 46 minutes. I would imagine that's just a basic use. Obviously, if that's quite heavy use, then that will go down substantially. And then it's got a bit of info there on the amount of battery that each individual app is using. So again, that's the Mi 10T Lite. It's not that different from the Poco X3 Pro in terms of how it looks from the front. But if we flip it over to the back, this is where things change. So where the Poco X3 Pro has a plastic back, the Mi 10T Lite actually has the benefit of having a glass back. So it's Corning Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and the back. And then this is a nice Aurora blue colour, I believe. So you've kind of got a light blue at the top, and then it filters down into a dark blue at the bottom, and then you've got your 5G branding on the bottom there. We'll take a quick look at the camera tech on here. So this is upgraded to a 64 megapixel main sensor and an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and then the same 2 megapixel depth and macro cameras as what was found on the X3 Pro. On the left, you've got your SIM tray, which has your SIM card and micro SD card support. Power button on the right, which again doubles as a fingerprint sensor, so there's no inbuilt fingerprint sensor into the display on here. And then just above that, you've got your volume rocker as well. Again, exactly the same as what was on the X3 Pro. On the bottom, very similar again. You've got a headphone jack, USB-C port, microphone and speaker. And at the top, you've got a microphone and an IR blaster. And then you've got another speaker built into the earpiece. So again, this does have stereo speakers. Okay, so here's a quick look at both the phones next to each other. As you can see, dimensions wise, they are basically identical. Obviously, you've got that quad camera setup on both. The design of the quad camera is slightly different. In terms of the battery on these phones, you have a 4,820 milliamp battery on the Mi 10T Lite, and you have a slightly larger 5,160 milliamp battery on the Poco X3 Pro. Now, in terms of battery endurance, you should probably find that they'll both be pretty similar, given the slightly less power-hungry Snapdragon 750G inside the Mi 10T Lite over the 860 in the Poco X3 Pro. Now, they both support 33 watt fast charging, so you should be able to get both of these phones to a full charge in around an hour. Then if you flip the phones onto the side, you've got exactly the same positioning of the power button and your volume rocker, give it a few millimeters difference. And then if you flip them onto the other side, again, you've got the exact same positioning of the SIM tray. On the bottom, it's basically the same in terms of the headphone jack, USB-C port and speaker grill. And then at the top, you've got a very similar setup there. So these phones are very, very similar in their design, especially in terms of the display, with the displays being exactly the same. So you're not going to go wrong having either of these phones. If you're looking for a phone that's around the £200 mark, then these are definitely a really good option. The Mi 10T Lite has the benefit of offering 5G support, so that's, a reason that you might go for this one. But if you do want one that's got a bit more in terms of performance and you're not fussed on the 5G, then I would go for the X3 Pro with that Snapdragon 860. So thank you for watching. I hope this comparison helps. And like I said, these phones are very similar, but as they've both got a perk that you might pick one over the other, I hope this has helped to kind of make your decision for you. So thank you for watching. If you did like this video, a sub to the channel would be amazing, and turn your notifications on so you know every time I make a new upload. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.